Shalom, Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Alright, Hebrews, I'm finna do this video on the Maccabees and where they come from. You know, Maccabee is just a name that was given to this guy named Matthias and one of his sons named Judas. Maccabees, which is just supposed to mean hammer, was like a nickname. But how that name was applied to all the descendants of Matthias, and how his sons, all of them, would be called Maccabees when it come from one person, and how it was a nickname and it's not their name. And then the name that they had before that, you know, they're called the Hasmonean family group that come from this Tobiat named Hasmon, and how, you know, they could be traced to the Nethinims. You know, the Nethinims are gonna be some Amorites that tricked us during the time of Joshua, when we come out of Egypt, and how they, you know, acted like they had come from a far distance and stuff. It's like, you know, in biblical history, in Tanakh history, you can see that our enemies tricked us over and over, all kind of ways. And whenever we don't consult the Creator or rely on Almighty Yah for our answers, then, you know, we get tricked, and you know, they beguile us. And that's been going on for a long time. But this is what I'm finna do for some of you Hebrews that be confused about the Maccabees and want to know where they come from. You know, the Israelite Brotherhood gonna shed some light. Listen to this here. Listen to this here. Alright, hold on. Let's wait a second. Listen to this here. Let's get it right. Yeah, the Maccabees gonna come off they gonna come off the Tobiats. You know, the Tobiats were tax collectors, and they was wealthy, and they had even tricked the Ptolemies. You know, the Tobiats gonna be some Amorites.
Commonly known as the Maccabees. Now, actually, only one of the sons, Judas, was actually named Maccabeus. Maccabee means the hammer, and it was simply a nickname given to Judas. But over the centuries, the name came to refer to all of the brothers. The correct name for the dynasty is actually Hasmonean. This name comes from their ancestor, Asmoneus.
And Asmoneus is gonna be descending from them Tobiats, and them Amorites is gonna be their forefather. Alright, Hebrews, I'm gonna show you Hebrews something. And you know, we need to shed some light, you know, on the Maccabees, because a lot of Hebrews get confused about, you know, who they are and where they come from, and think that they were Israelites. See, it's a lot that went on after the Babylonian captivity. You know, we done established the fact, the Israelite Brotherhood has established the fact that the Israelites ran into Africa by way of Egypt during the Babylonian wars. You know, 99%, the whole Israelite community, the whole people, everybody, you know, they ran into Africa during the Babylonian wars. And that, like, it was like 1% that was captured and took into Babylon. And how when they come back from Babylon, how they was destroyed. They was tricked first and then destroyed. And then that's how the Maccabees and all them folks on come about, the Hasmoneans. You know, they come around about 160 something BC. But before then, you know, it's like the Greeks took over in 332 BC. And man, there's a lot going on during that era, you know. And the reason why I say it's two separate histories is because, you know, the ones that ran into Africa, the 99%, all the tribes, as I have established in all the videos, that there's no 10 lost tribes, and how those are myths that our enemies created to keep, you know, the world confused on who the true Israelites are. Okay, you know, during the time of the exiles, when they come back, you know, they had a lot on their back. You know, they had a lot on their table. You know what I'm saying? They had a lot on their plate. And, you know, they had the enemies that was trying to get them up out of there. And eventually the enemy destroyed them and got them up out of there. You know, the last book is going to be the book of Malachi. That's around about 430 BC. That's going to be the last book. And then after that, you know, it spring up all kind of little false history about the Israelites. It's because the exiles lights were put out because they was mixing. But I want to establish the fact that, you know, them Nethinims, you know, the Hasmoneans gonna come off the Nethinims. All of our enemies in the promised land come off the Nethinims besides one group, and they were all Amorites. You know, the Nethinims, the people, the Gibeonites, the Hivites, you know, they were Amorites. You know, they was Canaanite tribes. And how we didn't destroy them, and then how they tricked us during Prophet Joshua reign. When we come out of Egypt, we were supposed to get rid of all our enemies, and we was doing it. But it was one time we didn't consult the Creator about getting rid of our enemies, and then our enemies tricked us. You know, every time we don't, you know, go to the Creator, or turn our problems to Almighty Yah, is easily to trick us. And Tanakh history demonstrate this, you know. And I'm gonna show how you know, the Hivites, you know what I'm saying, we didn't destroy, and because they tricked us. And how the Gibeonites would translate into the Nethinims, and how the Nethinims would be the door opener, you know, for all the enemies to get in and claim Israelite heritage, you know. And they start doing that, you know, when the exiles come back home. You know, the exiles could only live in Judah inheritance in the cities around Jerusalem. And I'm going to show this and establish this, and then how they was knocked off real fast because they start to mortgage their land and so forth. All right, if we go to, let's establish who the Gibeonites and the Nethinims are. You know, the Nethinims is just gonna be the host of all our enemies put together that we didn't destroy, that we accidentally made a covenant with during Joshua time. And like I said, we didn't mean to let them folks slide, but they tricked us, you know, as we get tricked all the time. And we've been getting tricked for a long time in this captivity. You know, the people from the transatlantic slave trade been getting tricked left and right, you know. And you know, some of this trickery, you know, go all the way back to ancient times. Okay, if we look at, let's see, that'd be Joshua 9. If we look at Joshua 9, we're gonna see that, you know, it come to pass when all the kings which were on this side of Jordan, in the hills and in the valleys, in the valleys and in the coast of the great sea over against Lebanon, the Hittite, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites heard thereof, that they gathered themselves together to fight with Joshua and with Israel with one accord. So all our enemies got together with one accord to fight against us. And it's a trip how we can't do that to our enemies, get together with one accord and be against our enemies. All right. And when the inhabitants of Gabon heard what Joshua had done unto Jericho and to Ai, they did work willingly, and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks upon their asses, you know, they horses and stuff, donkeys, and wine bottles, and old and rent and bound up. You know, they went and got some old stuff and made it seem like that they had traveled from a long distance, and that they had just stumbled up on us, and how they done heard about our fame and us tearing them other folks up that was some kin to them, and then how they wanted to make a league with us, and we got tricked. They did work willingly and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sackcloths upon their asses, and wine bottles old and rent and bound up, and old shoes and cloth upon their feet, and old garments upon them, and all the bread of their provisions was dry and moldy. And they went to Joshua unto the camp at Gilgal, and said unto him and to them men of Israel, We be come from a far country. Now therefore make ye a league with us. And the men of Israel said unto the Hivites, Peradventure ye dwell among us, and how shall we make a league with you? You know what I'm saying? So we was like, we can't make no league with y'all. Y'all might be living among us, And the men of Israel said unto the Hivites, Peradventure ye dwell among us, and how shall we make a league with you? And they said unto Joshua, We are thy servants. And Joshua said unto them, Who are you? And from whence come you? You know what I'm saying? Where y'all come from? Who are y'all? And they said unto him, From a very far country thy servants are come, because of the name of the Elohim that Yah. For we have heard of the fame of him, and all that he did in Egypt, and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites that were beyond Jordan, to Sihon king of Heshbon, and to Og king of Bashan, which was at Ashtaroth. Wherefore our elders and all the inhabitants of our country spake to us, saying, Take food with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and to say unto them, We are your servants. Therefore make a league with us. And we should have consulted the Creator throughout the whole time, but we never did. And that's how our enemies got in right here. This is what let all our enemies in. When the exiles were destroyed, our heritage went over to the Nethinims, who were the Tobiids and the Hasmoneans, who eventually became the Hasmonean dynasty. It's going to come from these folks right here. And this is how the people got in, claiming our heritage, besides the ones that were set in Samaria in 722, gonna be the brains, the ones from Babylon. They still here today, and how they are Amorites, and how these people were Amorites too, and how all of them became one, and how the Amorites, took over the Moabites and the Ammonites, and how the Amorites will be the chief among all our enemies, and how all our enemies became bind up in them, and how did those Amorites go back to Prophet Abraham, when the Creator told him that the iniquity of the Amorites was not yet full. It never was full. We never did destroy them and bring they end about. And how did they end? It is right here today. They ruled is right here today, and they end is here now too, because we waking up, to what's going on. But you see, look, they tricked us. And they said unto him, From a very far country thy servants are come, because of the name of the Elohim that Yah. For we have heard the fame of him, and all that he did in Egypt. And all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites that were beyond Jordan, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, which was at Aswad. Wherefore our elders and all our inhabitants of our country spake unto us, saying, Take food with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and say unto them, We are your servants. Therefore now make ye a league with us. And that was like making a league with the devil, because if we wouldn't have made a league with them, then later on, they descendants, after the exiles got in, couldn't have never got the heritage, and there would never be no, Jews today. And now all them folks gonna come from these people right here, besides the Ashkenazi. All right.
This our bread we took hot for our provision out of our houses on the day we come forth to go unto you. But now behold, it is dry and it is moldy. See, it was tricking us. These bottles of wine which we filled were new, and behold, they are rent. And these our garments and our shoes became old by reason of the very long journey. And the men took of their victuals and asked not counsel at the Elohim. You know what I'm saying? We didn't take counsel of the Elohim Yah. And the men took of their victuals and asked not the counsel at the mouth of the Elohim Yah. And Joshua made peace with them and made a league with them to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swore unto them. Now we done swore in the Creator's name. So we wouldn't be able to go back on that promise because we swearing by our Creator's name, all of us. Now if it would have just been one person that made the oath with them, then that would have been different. But the whole congregation and the whole assembly of the people, the leaders, made a league with them in the name of Almighty Yah. So we was bound by that, and that was our destruction right there. That was our destruction right there. We could never recover from that. Like I said, we never got a good foot in standing in the promised land because we didn't destroy our enemies, and our enemies constantly pop game on us. They had party after party after, on us. And then if they wasn't partying, they was come crying, playing the sorry game, like what these Gibeonites did. And all this would end up to us losing our heritage later on. You see, you got Hebrews that's quick to run and make a league with the enemies. They quick to make a league with the enemies, and they think that they doing something special because they done made a league with the enemies, and they be feeling like they, the big boss because they done made a league with the enemy. But in the end, it be our destruction, and that's the way it's been the whole time in Tanakh history. Every time we make a league with our enemies, we get destroyed. And Joshua made peace with them and made a league with them to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swore unto them. And it come to pass at the end of 3 days, after they had made a league with them, that they heard that they were their neighbors and that they dwelt among them. See, so the other folks gonna be laughing, and how we done got tricked. And the children of Israel journeyed and came unto their cities the 3rd day. Now these cities were Gabon. See, we done took their cities and done let them lay it on down. And the children of Israel smote them not, because of the princes of the congregation had sworn unto them by the Elohim Yah of Israel. And all the congregation murmured against the prince, because we done made a promise to them folks to let them live, knowing that the Creators told us to destroy them folks and our enemies. But now we done made a league with them. You see, that's right there. That's breaking the covenant, and that would lead to our doom as it did. And the Creator say them folks will be a thorn in our side, and they was all the way till we was destroyed and driven off the land. This is gonna be the origin of the Hasmoneans and the Maccabees. They gonna come off the Tobiats, who got in with the Nethinims. All them become one, because they are Amorites. Amorite means Semitic, and Western Semitic. All right. And the princes said unto them, all right, but all the princes said unto all the congregation, we have sworn unto them by the Elohim Yah of Israel. Now therefore we may not touch them. This is we will do to them. We will even let them live, lest wrath be upon us because of the oath which we swore unto them. We should have went and consulted the Creator and asked him if he could forgive us and let us get them, because they tricked us and they lied to us, and the Creator probably would have let us get them. But throughout the whole time, we never did went to the Creator and consulted him about destroying them folks, and they would be a thorn in our side. They would eventually get our whole heritage. All right, these we will do to them. We will even let them live, lest wrath be upon us because of the oath which we swore unto them. And the princes said unto them, let them live, but let them be hewers of wood and drawers of water unto all the congregation. That's what we shouldn't have did. See, now they get to be in, follow our culture and do our heritage, and then they around the most sensitive entity that we got, and that's gonna be our worship. You know what I'm saying? They around the where we worship at. That's, where the priests is and the Levites and so forth. If they mixing in amongst them and get in to be among them, then that's a bad thing, and that will have consequences later on, as it did when the exiles come back from Babylon. They was destroyed real fast by them folks, and then them folks will step up and say they was Israelites. All right, and Joshua called for them. He spake unto them, saying, wherefore have ye beguiled us, saying, we are very far from you, when ye dwell among us. Now therefore ye are cursed, and there shall be none of you be free from being bondmen and hewers of wood and drawers of water for the house of my Yah. Ah, that's awful. That was a terrible play. We should have never told them that. That they will be drawers of water for the house of Yah, because when we was driven off into Africa and lost the covenant, that didn't include them, and how that they would have our heritage after that. You see, when we went into Africa during the Babylonian wars and that 1% come home and them people were still in the land, then, they would have our heritage. And then even, some of the Solomon's servants bred with them, and all the wicked people that want to claim a Israelite heritage come in under Solomon, or some kind of way connect themselves to Solomon's descendants or Solomon's servants, or some kind of way it's gonna come off Solomon, because Solomon was a wicked king, and you can get a lie in and false history in up under a wicked king, and that's what they did. All right, so therefore ye are cursed, and there shall none of you be freed from being bondmen and hewers of wood and drawers of water for the house of my Yah. And they answered Joshua and said, because it was certainly told thy servant how the Elohim thy Yah command his servant Moses to give you all the land and to destroy all the inhabitants of the land from before you. Therefore we were so afraid of our lives because of you, and have done this thing. See, that kind of makes sense, what them doing that, and it kind of makes sense that somebody would naturally do that, to try to save themselves. But we shouldn't have listened to them, and we shouldn't have let them pop game on us, and they should have got the sword. Because if they would have got the sword, none of this wickedness would be going on today, and we wouldn't have never lost our heritage, even though the Egyptians played the big part in us losing our heritage. All right. Now behold, we are in thee in hand, as it seemeth good and right unto thee to do unto us, do. And so did he unto them, and delivered them out of the hand of the children of Israel, that they slew them not. See, we should have slew them. And Joshua made them that day hewers of wood and drawers of water for the congregation and for the altar of the Elohim, even unto this day, in the place which we should chose. You know what I'm saying? So wherever we chose to put Almighty Yah name, which was in Jerusalem, that's where they was going to be working in the temples, and working for the Levites and the priests. And that's what we shouldn't have did, because some of those Levites and priests is going to go into them folks. And them folks going to claim an Israelite heritage, as did happen. And I'm going to show this. All right. Now let's go to, all right, let's go to Joshua 11 and see what happened. And also, King David, Saul would kill some of them Gibeonites, and then they would want revenge. And I'm gonna show you how cold King David was. King David was cold, boy. He wasn't playing. And how about the first daughter that Saul was supposed to give to King David in marriage, Merab, how he gave her to another man, and how she had 5 sons by him, and how King David would get them up to the Gibeonites, because we had made an oath not to destroy them, and by the name of Almighty Yah, and how Saul would take the sword to him, but how, and then how was a famine in the land because Saul breached that promise that was made under the Creator name. See, the Creator was with us personally then. The Creator didn't, turn his back on us and let our enemies devour us. The Creator was right with us then. So, if we made an oath, then we would have to stick by it because the Creator gonna be none heard. Did you see what I'm saying? Even though we didn't consult the Creator, he gonna be none heard that oath that we made. So we would have to stick by it, and then that was our destruction. All right. Let's look and see Joshua 11. Joshua 11. Let's see. Let me see. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel except the Havites, the inhabitants of Gabon. All other they took in battle. So those Amorite, Havite people from the Gabon, we gonna spare, and them was supposed to be our enemies that we destroyed. All the Canaanite tribes, all the Amorite tribes, but we didn't. So those folks will still be around. All right, they tricked us. They tricked us big time. All right, now we're gonna go to let's go see about the Nethinims when we come back from the Babylonian captivity. So we know that them folks will be workers in the temple or wherever we chose to put the Creator's name, which would eventually be Jerusalem. So let's go look and see about these folks in this other land. Solomon let them in, and then some of them will be counted among Solomon's descendants when we come back, and how they couldn't get a house of origin, their fathers of origin. They couldn't connect themselves to the ancient kings' houses and so forth, and how that everybody come off Solomon. Whenever you want to sneak in to the Israelite heritage and claim some Israelite heritage, all you got to do is come off Solomon, and that's what our enemies been doing for a long time too. Everybody come off Solomon wicked history. Solomon turned, on the people, and started mating with all them folks, and then that would cause our destruction. I'm gonna show that, but let's look. See, Sanballat the Hornite and Ammonite. That guy right there would get in with them Nethinims. All them will be counted as one coming back from Babylon. And those Nethinims ain't gonna be nothing but them Gibeonites and them folks that we didn't destroy coming out of Egypt into the promised land, and how we let them hang around the temple and so forth, and how they learned our whole heritage from way back from when we come out of Egypt. How them folks was a thorn in our side. Keep your enemies closer. Well, they got real close to us. And, man, they eventually, got our heritage. We couldn't hold on to it. All right, so, let me see. It says, when Sanballat the Hornite, the Tobiite, the servant of the Ammonite heard. All right, not here. Let's go 50. All right. That's Ezra. Looking for Ezra. Alright. Here it is, right here. Alright. Alright. The children of Solomon's servants, the children of Salty, the children of Safi, the children of, let me see, the children of, searching all this, let me see, alright, here it is, 58. All the Nethinims and the children of Solomon's servants were 392. See how they counted among Solomon's servants, the Nethinims. They easing in. They easing in now. See, and we know that Solomon had messed it with them Amorites and them Canaanite folks, but how they had come in and got in under Solomon's servants' descendants' name when we come back from Babylon, and we was trying to see who was all Israel and who wasn't. Well, they came and got in with Solomon's folks, because some of them was Amorites and stuff already, because Solomon had a child by the Amorite woman. That's gonna be Rehoboam. All right, let's go to First Kings. First Kings should shed some history on Solomon. All right, First King First King 11:1. All right. But King Solomon made love, and King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Edomites, the Zidonians, and the Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Elohim said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon cleaved unto these in love, and he had 700 wives, princes, and 300 concubines. He was a freak. And his wives turned away his heart. For it come to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Elohim his Yah, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Malcolm, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Elohim, and went not fully after the Elohim as David his father. And then Solomon built an high place for Kishmosh, the abomination of the Moabites. And so it might have well been for the Amorites. But because Sihon took over the Moabites and the Ammonites heritage and the Havites, all Canaan kids will be led by Amorites. So when we're reading all this, we're really just reading about the Amorites. All right. Kishmosh, the abomination of the Moabite, and all the hill that is before Jerusalem, for Molech, and the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burn incense and sacrifice unto their gods. You know, yeah, man, that's awful what Solomon did. That's awful what he did. But he opened the door up for them Nethinims to claim Israelite heritage, as shown in Ezra, how they, was counted among Solomon's descendants. They was counted among Solomon's descendants. All right, let's look at this again. All the Nethinims and the children of Solomon's servants were 392. So Solomon kids and descendants is counted among the Nethinims, who are not Israelites. You see what I'm saying? Solomon opened the door up for all this to happen to us. Solomon was not a wise king. In his beginning he was, but in the end he was real foolish. All right, now let's go to Ezra 2:43. Let's see. The Nethinims, they're going to have leaders too. They're going to have some leaders. The Nethinims, the children of Zihar, the children of Hishapah, the children of Tobath, the children of Kurz, the children of Shea, the children of Pardon, the children of Lebna, the children of Hagabah, the children of Akab, the children of Hag, the children of Shemi, the children of, all of them gonna seek their registry, but it could not be found. Look, it's a whole gang of them. It was hundreds of them. You know what I'm saying? It was 1,000 of them. Look, but you know what I'm saying? They said that all together the number was 392. All right, and these were they which went up from Telmon, Telharsa, Cherub, Adim. This is going to be close to Sippar and Babylon. This is going to be another Amorite strongholds and towns where they brung these folks from. But they could not show their father's house and their seed, which they were of Israel. They couldn't show whether they was of Israel. The children of Delilah, the children of Tobiah. Look, you see Tobiah right there? That's going to be where the Hasmoneans come from off him. As I said, Hasmonean was just the name of one Judas Maccabee, a nickname, and how they get it to all them. But they name before that, they going to be Tobiats. Let me see, the children of Noked, 650, and two of them, all of them came from Babylon. These sought their registry among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore were they excluded and put from the priesthood. But they would get back in the priesthood because the Ammonites, the Amorites under the returns, the Tobiats,
under the house of Gerard, because they, as I showed, the Nethinims were carriers and worked it in the temple. Solomon even had some of them as servants, and then how they was instructed to carry the water. During King David time, he made them carry the water in wood and stuff, and how he would put some of them to death, some of them he would leave alive, and then how that they would have to carry water and stuff for the temple. But us making them folks hanging around our temple was a bad thing, because when we was destroyed and driven off the land, they would have all the knowledge and history of being affiliated with the Israelites, and they would keep that same culture and practice on. It's just that they would just be a different color now. You see what I'm saying? And then that happened to us. All right, let's look at some of this history. The Nethinims. Let's look and see what they say. The Nethinims means those set apart. Giving. Yeah, we gave them folks our heritage. The Gibeonites, the Hivites, and 2 Samuel 21:2 say that they was counted as Amorites. Let's get this 2 Samuel in, because they was counted as Amorites. Also, which I know that the Amorites took over Heshbon and so forth. All right, 21:2. And the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, Now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remain of the Amorites. And the children of Israel had sworn unto them. See, we had sworn to the Amorites, and guess what? The Amorites, the Sepharvaim from Sepharvaim would come in and benefit off us not destroying them when they was placed in Samaria in 722 BC, because they would be Amorites. The Amorites founded Babylon. The Amorites founded Cyprus, where they was from. So the Sepharvaims will benefit from this too, us not destroying them, And the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, Now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remain of the Amorites. And the children of Israel had sworn unto them, and Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. Wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, What shall I do for you? There was a famine in the land, and Saul had broke that promise that we had made in the Creator's name not to destroy them folks. And Saul did, and it was a famine in the land, and David thought to get the famine up off the land, that it had to do something with the Gibeonites. And then he went to the Gibeonites, and then they wanted some of Saul folks that had destroyed them. And guess what? King David was so slick and so cool that, well, I ain't gonna say slick. King David was so smart that he gave the Gibeonites the Saul's grandkids by his wife Mary, that was promised to him. That was promised to him from the beginning, but that was given to another wife. And then how King David would destroy them. They kids. She was given to Adderall, in the marriage. Let's go to this. So, King David and the Gibeonites said unto him, We will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house, neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. He said, What shall ye say that will I do for you? And they answered the king, The men that consumed us and that devised against us, that we should be destroyed from living, from remaining in any of the coast of Israel. Let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them up unto the Elohim and Gabah of Saul, whom the Elohim did chose. And the king said, I will give them. So he went and got, the daughter that Saul had promised him at first, the husband she had married, and they kids. He went and tossed them up, because she was supposed to be his first wife, and them supposed to be his kids, but they was the kids of the other. And the king spared Meshibah, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because the Elohim's yoke that was made between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul. But the king took the sons of Rezpah,
the daughter of Aiah, whom she bore unto Saul in Aramni and Mespah, and the 5 sons of Micah, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up for Adariel, the son of Barzillai. Alright, let's go look at this here. Alright, so we would turn to 2 Kings 18. 2 Kings 18. That'll be 2 Kings 18:17. Let's see what it says. First King. Alright. And Saul said to David, Behold, my elder daughter Merab, her will I give thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for me and fight the Elohim's battle. For Saul said, let not my hand be upon him. He's talking about King David, but let the hand of the Philistines be upon him. And David said unto Saul, Who am I, and what is my life, and are my father's house in Israel, that I should be son-in-law to the king? But it come to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given unto Adriel, the Mishalite wife. Alright, them gonna be the folks that the Gibeonites tossed up. You know, she gonna have 5 sons. Bam. And then, you know, they gonna get tossed up. You know, King David gonna get them up. Alright, so we go to 2 Samuel 21. 2 Samuel 21. 1 through 8. Alright. Alright, and it come to pass, David to Noab to Amalek the priest, and Amalek was afraid to meet in the King David, and said to him, Why art thou alone, and what man do with thee? Let me see, that's not it. That's always when I be having 1 Samuel mixed up with 2 Samuel. Yeah, so but anyway, King David would get them dudes up to the Moabites. I mean to the Gibeonites to get rid of. Alright. Let me show this real quick. How the Ammonites, the Gibeonites and the Nethinims gonna become one people. The Gibeonites and the Nethinims gonna become one people. And the Nethinims got in our heritage when the exiles come back from Babylon. You know, they was getting our heritage when the exiles come back from Babylon. When the exiles come back from Babylon, they were getting our heritage, and then it would be people coming from all those places in Babylon that wasn't kin to us, and how that they would, you know, get in the temple. You know, let's go to let's show some of this in Ezra. You know, how the exiles only lived in one place. You know, the exiles only lived in one place around Jerusalem, and they couldn't live in all the other places where we lived at. You know, one time lived at, you know, and they was only confined to Jerusalem and around about them parts, and how that the enemies was at them left and right. And if you read the book of Ezra, Nehemiah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi, you will see that the exiles, you know, was having a hard time. And then how that the enemies, you know, tricked them out their land. But before then, Prophet Isaiah had already made a prophecy about how the exiles would be destroyed. Let me get that in. There's a lot of history dealing with the exiles. But if you go to Isaiah 6, and then he was asking how long it was going to take for us to be destroyed and be driven off the land. And, you know, the Creator told Prophet Isaiah He told Prophet Isaiah that, to go tell us, this. And he said, go and tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. See ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their ears, and hear with their heart, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed. Try to play like we healed and stuff. And then go back to wickedness when the disaster done played us, Then said I, Elohim, how long? And he answered, until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without men, and the land be utterly desolate. That happened during the Babylonian wars. Chapter 44 of Jeremiah, verse 2, when it showed that the land was empty of Hebrews, and the Hebrews was driven out the land. And either you was going to be in Babylon, or you was going to be that 99% that went into Africa. And the Elohim have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the land. That great forsaking in the land is when we said that we was going into Africa in the book of Jeremiah, saying that we gonna worship the Egyptian religion, but yet in it shall be a tenth, and it shall return. That's gonna be the exiles coming back from Babylon, and shall be eaten as a teal tree, and as a oak whose substance is in them when they cast their leaves, meaning that they was gonna fade off. A tree is green, and then it slowly turn, the leaves slowly turn around till they dead and fade away. That's what happened to the exiles, and the exiles was destroyed around about the Greek times, 332 BC. I showed the Ptolemies and the Lichimas claiming the Israelite heritage. So some had to happen to the Israelites in order to pass the heritage over to some Jews, some Greeks. You know what I'm saying? In order for the heritage to fall into them folks' hands, some had to happen to the exiles. And what happened to the exiles, they was destroyed real fast and real quickly. And then those Nethinims, the people who been hanging around the temple since we first come out the promised land, who we didn't destroy under Joshua, will become the Tobiites and the Hasmoneans and the Maccabees and all them folks. That's where they come from. They'll try to say that they come off the priest lineage of Jorib and of Jehudiah, the high priest at that time. When the exiles come back from Babylon, they'll try to say that they come off them, but they would be the people that worked it for them people in the temple. The Nethinims that worked it for those priests in the temple, some of their sons will probably go into them non-Israelites, and then have kids, and then them non-Israelites will go back into their non-Israelite population and have kids, and then they will be familiar with our worship already. So that would explain how the Tobians and the Hasmoneans and all them folks and where they would come from, and how that they wouldn't have a cursed history like the Israelites was supposed to have after the covenant was broken. Remember, it was 99% in Africa, so the curses had to come down and the covenant was broken, because that 99% never come out of Africa to be reunited with that 1% who the exiles represent, who was destroyed. All right. And the Elohim have removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. But yet in it shall be a tenth, and it shall return and shall be eaten as a teal tree, and as an oak whose substance is in them when they cast their leaves. So the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. That's what happened to the exiles. They was destroyed real fast. All right, let's look at this here. All right, so we know that the Gibeonites tricked Joshua, and then how they would try to get in when the exiles come back from Babylon, how they'll try to get in with them, and how this one dude, look, this show you that the people, can only live in Jerusalem. Look, and the residue, all right, let me do, and the rulers of the people did. This is Nehemiah. This is dealing with the exiles. And the rulers of the people dwelt at Jerusalem. The rest of the people also cast lots to bring 1 of 10 to dwell in Jerusalem, the holy city, and 9 parts to dwell in other cities. And the people blessed all the men that willingly offered themselves to dwell at Jerusalem. Now these are the chief of the prophets that dwelt in Jerusalem. But in the cities of Judah dwelt everyone in his possessions in the cities, to wit Israel, the priests, and the Levites, and the Nethinims, and in Solomon's, in the children of Solomon's servants. See, them gonna be where the Jews get in. The Maccabees, the Hasmoneans, and all them lineage gonna come off Solomon's servants. They gonna be the ones that kept the temple. Solomon built that temple, so he will be real familiar with them Nethinims and their descendants that had been in the land since Joshua days, when we didn't destroy them. So those Nethinims gonna be the Tobiats and all those folks. And then how the Tobiats translated to the Hasmoneans, who was their successors, who were the Maccabees and so forth. And then the rest of their history, you already know. I prove over and over that it wasn't no Hebrews in the New Testament era. I was just reading Josephus, book 12, and how he explained how them Jews went to Scythopolis and tried to tax them, and how it was a big old fuss. The Ashkenazi had settled in the land during the Babylonian Wars in Scythopolis, and they was down with the Seleucids, whereas the Edomite pigmented Jews were down with the Ptolemies. All them had split the promised land up. But as you see, those Levites, not Levites, the Nethinims come in under Solomon's children. Solomon was a wicked king, and it was because Solomon that, we was destroyed. All right. So, we see that all these people, live, in Jerusalem, and how they couldn't live nowhere else. And the residue of Israel, of the priests and the Levites, were in all the cities of Judah, everyone in his inheritance. When the exiles come back from Babylon, they can only stay in one place because the rest of the land the enemies had taken over. And like I say, that those enemies were already doing our heritage since Joshua days. Now, let's go look at some more Amorites that was placed in our land in 722 BC under the king of Assyria. And these will be Amorites, but these will be the most educated Amorites out of all of them. And these are the Amorites that you can see today controlling our heritage. It's only two, the Sepharvaim and the Ashkenazi. Well, the Sephardi Jews gonna be the father of the Maccabees. All right. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cuddar and from Hamath and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelled in the cities thereof. And then as you read, it was a whole bunch of people placed in our land during these times. So they feared the Elohim and made unto themselves the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. For they feared the Elohim and served their own gods. So them Sepharvaims are Amorites too. And those Amorites, the Amorites are the founders of Babylon. The Amorites are the founders of Babylon. And I'm going to see if I can get the map to show this. All right, the Amorites are the founders of Babylon. It's a known fact that the Amorites are the founders of Babylon. Sipper, and Mori, all the way down, is a civilization that the Babylonians created, and how that those Amorites will be placed in Samaria in 722 BC, and how we didn't destroy them, because I show you how we had made a covenant with the Gibeonites, and they was Amorites, but these people would come into the land and they would be Amorites too, so we wouldn't destroy them. And then eventually our heritage will fall to them after we went into Africa during the Babylonian Wars. They would destroy the exiles, which wasn't nothing but a fruit, and they could only live in Jerusalem.
You know, so that would be the reason, you know, how and why the Maccabees and them pop up. And then these people right here are Babylonian scribes. Now, if they leave some history out, then, you know, their history is basically lost unless we come put it together. You know, because if they don't record some history or say what history is, then the world don't have that unless we Hebrews come and put some history together. And then our history have to come off the Tanakh. It have to show Tanakh ancient roots, and then you develop from there. And then that's how I'm able to trace these people and show that they ain't Israelites today, and how we can claim our heritage and with happiness now, because we are the Israelites, the people from the transatlantic slave trade, and how I'm showing constantly over how our enemies are not Hebrews, using the Tanakh that they use to deceive the people with. Alright, Hebrews, this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I just wanted to show how them people are not Israelites. You know, them folks gave Prophet Ezra and Nehemiah a hard time, but Prophet Ezra and Nehemiah did a good job by exposing who them people was, and then not allowing them to come into the Israelite heritage. You know, Prophet Jeremiah, Prophet Ezra and Nehemiah did a good job, and if it wasn't for them and what they did back then, our heritage would be totally lost. But being that they recognized that those folks were not Israelites from way back in Joshua days, and how we stayed strong on that, then, you know, we able to save our heritage. So we should give thanks to Almighty Yah above all, but we should give thanks to the prophet Ezra and the prophet Nehemiah for identifying our enemies, because we're able to identify them today and trace them to the various groups that's claiming our heritage. Shalom, Hebrews. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood.